American renters appearing convinced that owning a home is not a vision for their future. In a survey by Freddie Mac, only 24% of renters say it is extremely likely that they will own a home one day, and 82% say renting is more affordable than owning. Interesting.
It is interesting. I got a first-hand look, meantime, at, speaking of real estate, some of the more expensive homes here in the Miami area. We were boating around with Sam DeBianchi from $1 Million Listing, and Sam filled us in on how the economy is doing from her perspective as a real estate advisor. Let's watch.
We're in a really unique market where both the buyer and the seller wins, because sellers are still making money and buyers could take advantage of mortgage rates being under 4% for a 30-year fix, which is crazy.
It really is.
Years ago, I was talking about rates potentially going up. They were predicted to go up 5 to 6%. And everyone was like, yeah, that's going to happen. Well, it didn't happen, and here we are at under 4%.
Where's the money coming from, down here at least? I mean, is it the people we hear about from up where we're from, New York, New Jersey, the Northeast, maybe out in California, want to save on their taxes? Is that where the buyers are coming from in Florida? Or?
Well, let's just say we have foreign money. We're number one here in South Florida. Brazilians love our real estate. But with that said, we have so much money coming in from New York, California. I have clients from Chicago, Washington State. Everyone wants to plant their money here for tax reasons, but also price reasons, because cost of living is just less expensive here.
One of the things we also look at, and we all did stories, a decade ago about the collapse in the economy that I guess started with the collapse in the real estate market, is whether there are any warning signs, any trouble brewing. What do you see there? You deal with people all the time. I mean, they put in a lot of money down. Like, what types of trends do you see there? Is anything worrying you?
Sure. So I read a statistic about how people are spending about 30% of their income, sometimes even more, whether they're renting or they're buying. So that can definitely get a little scary. On top of that, I'm seeing more and more people put less and less money down. So that means they have a job, they have credit, but they don't have the money to put down. Now, whether that's because they don't want to put it down or because they just don't feel comfortable putting it down, nobody can really answer that question.
What do you mean by not putting a lot down?
So they're financing 95%,
Wow.
They're financing 90%.
Well, that is scary, no?
It is scary, but again, there could be a lot of reasoning behind that, because when you look at rents here in South Florida can get pricey. I mean, $2,000, $3,000 a month. That's a pretty solid mortgage payment. And you really have to analyze the numbers and say, well, maybe it does make more sense to rent, maybe it does make more sense to buy. And it really depends on the person and the property.
All right, give us an outlook then finally, whether it's these condos we see or some of the homes that we've been driving by on our boat today, for the future. Are you optimistic? Are you cautious? Are you worried? What do you think about the next year or so?
I'm cautiously optimistic. So a little bit of both. And that's because, again, I do see a lot of normalcy. I see a lot of positivity. I see, New Yorkers in 2018, New Yorkers moved to South Florida more than ever. Over 63,000 people moved from New York to Florida in 2018. So that's a big number. I think we're going to continue to see increases of that, especially because of tax purposes. But as a whole, I think we're in a pretty good market. We're going to stabilize a bit, and it's going to be a great day to own real estate in South Florida.
Different view outside of politics. Our coverage from Miami continues after the break. Melissa.